Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to our virtual tour, The Hidden Treasures of Peru. It's a pleasure to have the opportunity to speak with you today. As part of our Dream Now, Travel Later virtual travel series, we are pleased to provide you with a little escape to experience the amazing country of Peru. Thank you for joining us. I'm Bonnie Hinchberger, Business Development Manager at Ellison Travel and Tours and co-founder of Broad Escapes Tours for Women. Some of you I've had the pleasure of traveling with on our Broad Escapes custom tours for women, and actually some of you on this call have traveled with me to Peru. Others have joined us as clients and friends of Ellison Travel and Tours and their group of brands. A warm welcome to all of you. To give you a brief history of who we are, Ellison Travel and Tours is a 100% Canadian owned and operated full service travel agency established in 1980 by Doug Ellison. Doug and his family have carried on the business for 40 plus years now. I am co-founder of Broad Escapes Tours for Women, a brand under Ellison Travel and Tours. And my brand offers meticulously designed, customized tours for women to travel in a safe, fun, and welcoming environment. Together, we've spent years building strong relationships with trusted suppliers worldwide to enable us to create and deliver authentic and exceptional travel experiences to all our travelers. We take pride in curating customized itineraries for individuals and groups alike. We have 3 offices, with the head office being in Exeter, Ontario, and branch offices in North Vancouver, BC, and London, Ontario. So enough about us. Let's take you down to Peru. Give you a brief outline on my travels to Peru. I've traveled there several times. In fact, I chose Peru as the destination to spend my 50th birthday. And my husband and I and our 2 sons hiked the Inca Trail, which is a 4-day, 3-night hike, ending in Machu Picchu. And it was a fabulous experience. I've also led several women's groups to Peru. Again, great experience. It's such a diverse country. It has an Amazon jungle, the high Andean mountains, the Sacred Valley, Lake Titicaca, which is the highest navigable lake in the world. You'll find the people there are so genuine, and the traditions they've passed on from generation to generation. I think you're going to really like it. Today, our presenter is Carla Lopez. Carla was born and raised in Lima, Peru, where she studied tourism university. Her tourism career began in Lima as a tour guide and then branched as a tour leader, leading English, Spanish, and Italian-speaking groups throughout Peru. After 12 years of being on the road, she took her knowledge and experience in-house and started designing tailor-made trips for Il Tucano, Peru. I first met Carla in London, England, while attending the World Travel Market, and she's been designing our trips to Peru ever since. So without any further ado, I'm going to transport you down to Peru, and Carla will take it from here.
In a world where the sun walked the earth, where gods were hidden within stones, and ancient cultures dominated the oceans. A world where death created life. And men communicated with the universe. In this world, where the sun's sweat and the moon's tears protected the chosen ones, a magical legend emerged to forge the Inca Empire. one of the greatest civilizations of all time.
Tekse wera kocak muna kuining mi. Kay help antis, hanak mampuririnampak.
An empire where the immensity of magical lakes blended with cities that were born from the earth. And the bravest of warriors traveled from unknown oceans to fortresses hidden in the mist. Peru, empire of hidden treasures. 5,000 years of history, still alive. Don't watch the movie. Live it for real. Visit Peru.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? It's fine?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Perfect. Okay, well, thank you, Bonnie, for the introduction. Buenas tardes a todos from Lima, Peru. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to me to have this opportunity to share with you some information about my country, Peru, and, well, in some way to travel with you in Peru, especially in this moment of our history. Well, let me share with you this presentation that will be focused on the itinerary we have with Bonnie for the trip in 2022, but all the itineraries can be customized according to your needs, okay? Let me see. Now we're going to share my screen with you. Here we are. Okay, here we are. Well, first of all, I would like to give you some comments about the video that you'd already watched. I really like it so much because I think that is very well made. The actors that you can see during the video are actually actors and extras coming from different parts of the country. And some of them are farmers, are local people that are descendants from these pre-Hispanic groups, from local cultures, from the Incas or pre-Incas groups. So, and the things that they are wearing, the artifacts, the clothes, actually have been discovered by the archaeologists. They are copies of what we can find in our museum. So every time that I see this video, I feel very, very exciting. I really like it. So I hope that you enjoy it. Well, this itinerary, as I told you, is based is focused on the south of the country. Well, you can see on the left of your screens how the territory is divided. Peru has 3 natural regions: the coast along the Pacific Ocean, where I'm now. Actually, I'm in Lima, in the central coast of Peru. The Andes Range, the mountains. We are famous for the mountains, and the Amazon. And the green part that you can see is 60% of the Peruvian territory. The itinerary starts in Lima. So we fly from Lima to Puerto Maldonado. There is a small city in the Amazon, and we stay there in a lovely lodge, having different kind of activities for 2 days. Then we fly to Cusco, to the Andes, okay? And well, to visit, of course, this unique city. From there, we will see the Sacred Valley of the Incas, and of course, Machu Picchu, which is the highlight of our country. Then we will drive down to Puno to see the mythical Lake Titicaca, and after that, we will return to Lima to have our international flight. No, so this will be the itinerary. Well, the history the timeline of Peru, our history is basically divided in 3 specific moments, in 3 periods, okay? Since the beginning of the first inhabitants in our territory, until the developing of different kingdoms along the coast and the Andes. As you watch in the video, there were these different societies, okay? They lived in different moments in Peru, in what we can call Peru now. And then all of them were conquered by one great empire coming from the south of Peru that we have called the Incas, right? Okay, well, this period ended around the 1500s when Francisco Pizarro, this Spanish conqueror, arrived in these lands and started conquering this territory. Okay, so that was the beginning of a period that we have called the Viceroyalty or the Spanish period. We belong to the Spanish kingdom for 300 years approximately. This is why we speak Spanish. This is our main language now. And so this Spanish period ended around the beginning of the 1800s. There were several revolutions in South America in order to get the independence of the continent of Central America and South America. And the last country to become, or the last area to become independent was actually Peru, the Peruvian Viceroyalty, okay? Well, the territory in 1821, an Argentinian general, Jose de San Martin, proclaimed the independence of our country, and the last battle to get the independence of South America was in 1824. So that was the beginning of the Republican period, we can say. We are now a presidential republic. And by the way, on April, we will have presidential elections. Okay. Well, Lima established as a capital city by the Spanish Empire. Because of the location, we are facing to the Pacific Ocean. As a capital city, Lima concentrated different ethnical groups, like, of course, the Spanish, the native people that they found here, the Africans that were brought as slaves during the Spanish time, other communities of Europeans, Asians like Chinese or Japanese. And this is why Lima is known as a city of fusions and contrasts. Because of that, Lima is nowadays also considered the gastronomical capital of Latin America. Yeah. So in the picture, in the slide, you can see Miraflores. This is where we are now, and the fountain of our main square. Well, we will go to Puerto Maldonado, which is one of the main doors to the Peruvian Amazon. Okay, lodges are located in strategical places from where we can enjoy of different activities, like hiking in a trail during the night, to do canopy walk, to see the nature from the top of the trees, or a boat excursion in the Sandoval Lake, where we can see native fauna like otters, for example. The Amazon is an incredible world, and tourism is a way to give opportunities to their native communities to protect the territory from informal economic activities like informal mining, for example. Well, then our next step will be Cusco, the Incas capital, where you can find on their streets a mixture of Incas and Spanish architecture. Most of Cusqueños, which is the native word for someone from Cusco, for example, I'm a Limeña, so Cusqueños, preserve their ancestral beliefs, and even the Incas language, Quechua or Quichua, is still spoken by the majority in Cusco. We will visit the archaeological sites near Cusco, and we will also celebrate an ancestral ritual named the coca leaf reading. Well, the coca leaf is an important element for native communities in South America, actually. It is a gift for their gods. It's a sort of offering during rituals, and is always present in the daily diet of local people, especially in the mountains. Well, we can spend hours talking about the properties and why coca leaves are so important for locals. But just to give you an idea, the coca tea is wonderful to prevent the altitude sickness, for example. No? Well, hotels in the Andes will always welcome you with a cup of coca tea. We're near Cusco, we can find the Urubamba Valley. This valley was very important for the Incas as a main source of agriculture products, such potatoes. Well, this is the land of potatoes, and corn. We have a beautiful, huge corn in the Andes, typical from Cusco. Okay, the fields we can find now when we are in this area belong to different communities of Quichuas, living in villages originally built during the Inca's time. Some days along the week, it's possible to still see their local markets where farmers bring their products to barter, like in the past, like in the Inca's time. It's very pretty. So there in the slide, you can see one of these pictures. Well, of course, well, Machu Picchu, I don't remember how many times I have been there in Machu Picchu, but I can tell you that every time was unique. It can be raining, cloudy, sunny. Machu Picchu is always special. Nobody knows that. The way to go to Machu Picchu is by train. We take it from Ollantaytambo, this time for this trip, from Ollantaytambo station located in the Sacred Valley. And it takes around 1 hour and a half trip, okay? This is not on a speed train, as you can imagine. So coaches have panoramic windows, okay, in order to enjoy the view. We will see how landscape changes during our trip to the cloudy forest, because actually Machu Picchu is in the cloudy part of Peru. You can see in the picture, everything is green because it's lower than Cusco and the Sacred Valley areas. Well, the train arrives in a town that is now named Machu Picchu town. And from here, we have to take a shuttle bus to the archaeological site. Okay, this bus trip takes around 30 minutes, less than 30 minutes. Well, the first time you see Machu Picchu is unforgettable. What you see is the top of a mountain carved by the human being, by the Incas. This amazing place was hidden for centuries until 1911. The tour of the citadel takes around 3 hours. During this time, we will see the entire citadel and we'll have time to enjoy of its energy, of a special energy. Well, after visiting Machu Picchu and before going back to Cusco City, we will visit one of the communities in the Sacred Valley, the Amaru community. Okay, years ago, many of these communities were isolated because of the difficult access or the absence of roads to get there, and excluded of the tourism activity, the developing of the tourism activity. So now, thanks to the support of NGOs, native communities like Amaru can welcome visitors and share with them their customs, traditions, and the style of life. Amaru is a group of 400 families, okay? They have been organized in associations, for example, of women weavers, okay? We will visit one of them, but they basically live from the agriculture activity. During this pandemic, they have not received any help from the Peruvian government, unfortunately. So they were actually closed. They were closed. They decided to be closed for protect themselves of the pandemic. And so tourism will be a real opportunity to support them in the future. Okay, Amaru means a snake. The snake is one of the 3 sacred animals in the Andes. I will not tell you more about this because, of course, when you will be in Peru, you will learn about it. And well, we will leave Cusco and we will go to the south, to Puno. The Road of the Sun is the name given to these almost 400 kilometers that connects Cusco to Puno. We can stop on the way and visit pre-Inca temples and colonial churches like Andahuaylillas. You can see in the picture a view of the main altar in Andahuaylillas. called the Sixtine Chapel of Peru because of the colorful mural paintings decorating their walls and the ceiling inside. The highest point of the trip is the border between Cusco and Puno, and it's called La Raya. Okay, it is this pass. In this pass, we reach 4,300 meters above the sea level, just 500 meters below the Mont Blanc, which is 4,900 meters. We usually don't have to be worried about the altitude sickness because we will be acclimated in Cusco, okay? So the view of the Vilcanota mountains range from there is just spectacular, it's amazing. The late afternoon is expected to arrive to Puno. Well, Puno, we'll spend a day in the highest navigable lake in the world, Titicaca, located at 3,000, almost 4,000 meters above the sea level. We will see the communities living in the lake and from the lake, like the Uros, for example, or Euros, in their typical floating islands made of totora reed, and Aymaras, which is a land island, the Aymaras community that lives in the Aymaras island. According to a legend, the founders of the Lake Titicaca, Manco Cápac and Mama Oglio, emerged from the waters of this lake, looking for a land to found the empire of the sun god. In the video that we saw in the beginning, you can see this scene. It's very powerful, very beautiful. To listen, the sound of the silent Intaquile or while we are navigating in the lake is a special connection to the nature for sure. Well, now we are living a special moment of our history. But we're prepared. We're prepared. Machu Picchu was closed for many months, the same many museums and archaeological sites. But now Peru has a certificate of safe travels. So we are ready. We will be more than ready in 2022 to welcome you in Peru. Well, during this trip, you will have the opportunity to meet guides from Lima, from Cusco, from Puno, from the Amazon. And this will be also very interesting because you will see how different Peruvians can be. You will have different faces from the same country. Well, now I would like to present a colleague, Melvin. She is from Cusco, and she has a message for you.
Good morning, lovely ladies. This is Melvin, a tour guide. I'm talking to you from Cusco, Peru. Right now, we are located at 3,500 meters above sea level, and you don't have an idea how it feels to be closer to the sky, closer to the sun, who is our father, closer to the moon, who is our mother, and our brothers and sisters are the stars. I'm very glad to talk to you and give you a little bit of information about my city. Cusco is considered one of the most important cities. It was before and it is now. It used to be the capital of the Inca Empire. It used to be the most important city in the whole territory. And I'm not telling you that because I'm just from here, but I have to be honest, that is the truth. Cusco has a special energy. Cusco has a lot of history. Its architecture is amazing. And the Incas, who were our ancestors, made that possible. Cusco is the original name of the city. So Cusco is the Spanish pronunciation of Cusco. Cusco is Quechua, and Quechua is our mother language. The meaning of Cusco comes from heart. We know that the heart is one of the most important organs in our body, and that was Cusco in the Inca time, the heart of the Inca Empire. All the power was concentrated in Cusco, and it is amazing, my friends, because in the present time, Cusco keeps that. We know that the capital of Peru is Lima, but Cusco is the historical capital of America. Behind me, with this amazing background, I have this amazing architecture that belonged to Sacsayhuaman. This is an amazing archaeological site located only 10 minutes away from Cusco. And behind me, you can see this amazing work in a stone showing us that as a team, we can make things like that and even more. Blocks that are 60 tons, 70 tons, and the biggest gets to 120 tons. They all were transported by men, by hand, pulling the rocks and using a lot of energy. This is the example what we can do as a society. The Incas considered that the whole universe worked in two, because the number 2 means 1. Up, down, left, right, women, men, and that is showing us, my friends, that women in the Inca time were considered a complement, as powerful as men. Working together, men and women were able to do a lot of things. Women in the Inca society were very important. They were the right hand of men. Women used to work in the farming activities. Women were able to go to fight in a war if it was necessary. So women in the Inca society were considered very, very important. The hat that I'm wearing comes from the Inca time, and this is a hat that women used to wear in ancient times. Queens, princesses, and I think that this is the hat that all women in the world should use, and that's the way how women should be treated. Here we are, my friends, going through this hard time because of COVID, but I have to be honest, nothing will be the same. Our lives have changed for better because we can appreciate more life, health, and nature. We have to live with the nature, not from the nature. And the Incas gave us the best example about that. They love the nature, they respect the nature, and they consider it sacred. Here we are, very excited. We wait for you, dear friends. We wait for you, amazing women, and we are gonna have amazing time together. And I'm in charge to share with you the amazing history that my culture and my country has.
Just wanted to go over a few things about the possibility of traveling to Peru. Here in Canada, like many other countries, globally, we are still under travel restrictions. So hence our Dream Now, Travel Later theme. We know that you may not be ready to make your travel dreams a reality quite yet, but with the vaccine rollouts, the time is fast approaching. As we emerge from this pandemic, everyone will have their own level of comfort, and we understand that that will happen when it comes to travel. We respect that, and we'll be here to assist you when you are ready. When you are ready, there will be several options for you to experience Peru. And for those clients who are joining us from Ontario, Air Canada does have a nonstop flight between Toronto and Lima. I believe it's 4 times a week, at least it was pre-pandemic. So if you are interested in Peru, first I'll mention about our exclusive tours for women. As I mentioned, we had to cancel a tour that we had planned for 2021. We have tentatively rescheduled this tour for April 2022. So if you are interested in receiving more information about this departure, it does follow the itinerary that Carla outlined today. You can pre-register for that tour at our Broad Escapes website. At this time, we are not accepting bookings or deposits, but if you pre-register, you will be notified as soon as bookings are being accepted. And if you were booked on the April 2021 tour, you will automatically be pre-registered for this tour. So if you're traveling independently with a significant other, or maybe you have your own little bubble trip or bubble group, we can customize a tour specifically to your preferences. Together with Carla, her expertise, we will design a trip exclusively for you. And we'll include things such as transportation, accommodations, guides, permits, everything you need to consider to make your journey a memorable one. And since I've mentioned permits, I should also note that we can make any arrangements for securing hiking permits, such as the hike on the Inca Trail or any other trails in Peru. Carla mentioned that on the tour that she was outlining, we take the train actually to Machu Picchu, but there are other ways of entering Machu Picchu, including the 4-day hike that I took with my family. There's also a shorter, like 1-day hike, so we can arrange all those permits for you. Or if you're traveling on your own or would like to join a pre-fixed group departure with like-minded travelers, this can also be arranged through our travel experts. So having peace of mind when traveling has always been important, but now more than ever, it's essential to the overall enjoyment of your travel experience. We too have been designated with the Safe Travel Stamp of Approval, as Carla was mentioning. It's an important logo to look for when choosing travel. As I mentioned earlier, it's been years building relationships with trusted suppliers worldwide, such as Carla's Il Tucano. By choosing to book with us, you will have peace of mind knowing that we've taken care of all the aspects of your trip and you have someone available 24/7, both here in Canada and at your destination. Travel as we know it has changed, and we are here to help navigate you through these changes. So our next, I just want to make a short announcement here that our next Dream Now Travel Later series virtual tour will be to gorilla trekking in the safari in Uganda. Now, I absolutely love Africa, but Uganda is particularly unique in that it's one of only 3 countries in the world which is home to the mountain gorillas. Uganda was also the last trip I had the pleasure of leading prior to this pandemic, so I hold the memories near and dear to my heart. I hope you can join us on this tour. You're going to love the diversity of this country, the people, the scenery, and of course, the mountain gorillas. You can sign up for this event on our website, or if you've signed up for our newsletter, watch for an email invite in your inbox soon. And if you haven't signed up for our newsletter and would like to continue to receive updates of these events, please sign up on our websites today. So we're going to open it up to question and answer and bring Carla back here. So I think we've got a few questions in the chat box. If you have any questions, please enter them there. And if we can't get to all your questions today, we will certainly email you directly with some answers to your questions. So Brenna, I'll pass it back to you.
Thanks. We've got a question here. How much time is spent in the Amazon and what animals are seen?
Well, we spent actually more than 2 days. We will, can you hear me? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Yes. And well, you can find different kind of animals. Depends where we are. And for example, during the night hikings, we can find frogs, native frogs, different kind of frogs, and also during the day when navigation to the lodge, we can find toucans, macaws. There are other kind of animals, mammals, the otters that lives in the Sandoval Lake. Yes, this is basically what we can find. Of course, it's not really easy. Our guides, fortunately, are native people, so they know how to recognize the sounds of the Amazon. So even if you don't see anything, they can hear something, and believe me, there is something there. I don't know. Sometimes it's a monkey, sometimes a bird. So this is very nice. So the night hikings, for example, are pretty because of that, because during the night is the moment where the animals are actually walking in the Amazon. No? So it's a good moment to see the local fauna.
Okay, thank you. With the global pandemic, what type of arrangements, this might be a question for Bonnie, it may be more of a travel insurance question. What arrangements are made with local hospitals, doctors, healthcare facilities? I think it's more of a safe travels question when traveling. So,
Yes. So, I mean, we've had that experience actually with Carla and her company. Just there in a previous tour, we did have someone with a difficulty with the elevation. And that's one thing we'll probably discuss here in the question and answer. But with our services on the ground, we have assistance for you. And of course, with our insurance that we sell here in Canada, they will also designate a particular doctor or a particular hospital if there are any issue or needs to be seeking medical care.
Thanks. So how many days would this tour that Carla presented be?
Well, the tour is 13 days. 13 days in Peru, but as Bonnie said, the flight schedule to the international flight to arrive in Lima, arrive early in the morning. So we have actually the first day, the complete first day to enjoy of Lima city. And so it's around 13 days, yeah.
Great, thank you. What is the best time of year to visit Peru?
Wow, this is a good question. Well, my favorite time is on April, May, okay, but actually the rest of months are okay as well. Maybe just on January and February we have some rains because it's the raining period in the mountains in the Andes. So April is one of my favorite periods because when you go to the Andes, you can see everything green. So this is why I like it. But when you come to Peru on July or August, okay, it's not that green, but it still is beautiful. It's not raining, so it's very sunny in the mountains, a little bit cloudy in the coast, but it's fine. It's okay. So basically, you can visit Peru the entire year. Just we have to expect a little bit of rain, some rains in the afternoons on January and February.
Okay, thank you. We have someone asking, do you offer any side trips to the Galapagos Islands before or after?
Carla, do you want to answer that? We can certainly arrange that, and we would
Yes,
we
sure.
would arrange that through Carla. Yes.
Yes, of course. Yes, we can arrange that. It can be a pre-tour or a post-tour, of course. Yes, we have connection flights with Quito and Guayaquil in Ecuador, so can be also, of course, organized and included in the tour. Yes, of course.
That's great. Thank you. Now, does the train to Machu Picchu and entrance into Machu Picchu need to be reserved in advance?
Yes, because these trains actually don't are trains for tourism, so we have a special timing for them. So in order to guarantee a seat on the train, we need to book it in advance. Yes.
Carla, sorry,
sorry,
let me just jump in there. Carla, also to see Machu Picchu, it's quite regulated now, right? So you have to have that booked in advance in order to get in to see the site.
Yes, exactly. Because there is like a sort of world before COVID and after COVID. So before COVID, there were restrictions to visit Machu Picchu because this is an important archaeological site. And now, of course, we're having more restrictions about the number of people per guide, about the areas where we can be, we can see during the tour. But we have to wait because every 2 months the situation changes. So we have to see what is going to happen at the end of the year and how the tours in Machu Picchu will be. But by the way, Machu Picchu is now opened. Now is open again. So it's possible to visit it. But let's wait a little bit in order to see the new restrictions or rules that we will have for 2022.
Thank you. Bonnie, this question I think is for you. Do Canadians need a visa to travel to Peru?
No, they don't. Just a passport, valid passport. And The one thing, though, that we may be looking at for all travel is perhaps a vaccination passport. So that's something that IATA, which oversees all the international airlines, and a lot of the governments are working on right now. So that's something that we'll be keeping an eye on for sure.
Okay, thank you. Do we have to be concerned about altitude sickness when you're visiting Machu Picchu? I think this
Not-
question's for Carla.
Yes, not at all, not at all. We start a trip in Cusco. We will have time for acclimatation. And actually Cusco is higher than Machu Picchu. So after the acclimatation in Cusco, we will go to the Sacred Valley, which is lower, and then we will go lower to Machu Picchu. So don't worry about the altitude sickness at all. And when we will be also in Puno, we will be 100% okay with that. And well, you just have to drink some coca tea and you will be very, very good.
And if I could just interject there, the most important thing with altitude sickness is that you acclimatize, and our itinerary has been specifically designed so that when we arrive in Cusco, we're definitely at a higher elevation and we do need to acclimatize, but we will immediately go into be assigned our hotel rooms and have the whole day to just rest. And it's very important to really relax, and we'll have just a very, very light dinner that night. But I really recommend that, and as well, like, keep very hydrated. Drink as much water as you possibly can, right? And coca tea.
Yes, and coca tea. Yes. However, if you feel that, I don't know, in case of emergencies, we always have oxygen tanks in our vehicles, in the hotel. So we are ready in case you need some extra oxygen.
Okay, thank you. We did have someone ask about how to prepare for altitude sickness, so I think that covered it. Could you elaborate on the different climb options and physical requirements? And I think that's in reference to hiking the trail.
The Inca Trail, you mean? Can I ask?
Yeah, I guess what would the physical requirements be of doing the Inca Trail, hiking the Inca Trail?
Well, it's very important for a trip that includes the Inca Trail to have a good acclimatation. So we recommend to spend some days in high places like Cusco before starting the trek, the hiking, okay? The first day you start in a sort of a similar altitude like Cusco, but then the second day you climb up over 4,000 meters approximately. It's like a pass. So that the second day will be the hardest part of the trekking, but then you are going down, because as I said before, Machu Picchu is lower than Cusco and the Sacred Valley. So we go down. So the third day and the fourth day, you are fine, because you will be in the clouded forest of Peru in Machu Picchu. So this will be our suggestion. Of course, if I would like to add something to what Bonnie said. Drinking a lot of water. Maybe don't eat too much the first days. If you know your bodies, the high place, a high place like Cusco can be new for you, but it's very common to feel a headache the first day, probably, but it's normal. I mean, even for me, it's like this because I live on the sea level. So it's okay, it's normal. Our body needs sometimes to acclimatize to the altitude, and we just need some days before starting the Inca Trail. I mean, to be in a high place before starting the Inca Trail.
Yeah. Okay.
And just from my experience on that, the Inca Trail itself is the distance of a marathon, which is not really that far to have to do in 4 days. But it is, like Carla said, you have to go at a slow pace because of the oxygen level there, and especially on day 2. Once you get past day 2, you know that you're going to make it. So, yeah, you would have to certainly have some physical strength and ability, endurance in order to do the hike and enjoy it.
Speaking of the Inca Trail, how far in advance would you want to be booking that?
Well, usually we suggest to book at least 6 months before, at least. But let's see, because right now the Inca Trail is closed, but we need to know the new restrictions that we will have for the future, no? But usually it's 6 months at least. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. We have time for one more question if anyone has any questions out there. If not, actually, I've got one more question for you. What type of clothing should I pack when traveling to Peru?
Well, our main suggestion is to dress as an onion. So in layers, because in our country, you can find different areas. I mean, the coast, when we have a different, we don't have extreme temperatures. So if you come on April, for example, we can find, we have sunny days, is maybe, I don't know, 24, 23 Celsius. So it's fine. You don't need heavy clothes. But then when we go to the Andes, for example, during the day, if it's sunny, it's hot. But during the afternoon, in the evening, in the shadow, can be cool. So you will need maybe a pile or maybe a wind jacket, or not really. It's not necessarily a really heavy jacket, but depends. Remember, during the trip, we also go to passes. So we will be in high places where if windy, it can be cold. So in the Lake Titicaca during the evening, the temperature can be, I don't know, maybe 1, 2, 3 degrees Celsius. So. But during the night, we are not doing any excursion actually in the Lake Titicaca. So during the day is sunny and you can be with a t-shirt, and it's not, actually you have to protect yourself from the sun, because the sun in the 5,000 meters above the sea level is very strong.
Okay, thank you. I think that's the end of the questions, Bonnie.
Okay, so thank you all for joining us today. We're going to end this this virtual tour with a short video of some memories of previous trips that I have led. So please enjoy this short video.
Morning.